Hi, welcome to Off Script. I'm Zach Lewis.
And I'm Dr. Draper.
Today on the show, we're back. Andy, where, where, where have we been for a month? What
We've been
happened?
suffering technical difficulties, but we've still been going to the movies.
We sure have, man. Also, my phone's on. We have been suffering technical difficulties. That's an understatement. So I can explain, and I should, because we've been gone for a month, one of our longest hiatus in show history. And it's almost entirely my fault. Last time we were doing an episode, just about a month ago, 4 weeks ago, we finished up the episode 153. We recorded it. It was great. If you only listen to our audio episodes, you probably haven't heard it yet. Anyway, we live streamed the episode and it was great. It went to YouTube, went to Facebook. If you watched it, thanks for hanging out. But right after that, right as I was editing the show, my computer crashed. And for a month, I've been trying to get my motherboard swapped, and now I have a CPU thing, and it is like a freaking nightmare. And I have been very poor about managing the show on the side. Andy's been very patient with me. I hope you all have been as well. Andy, we had a red letter show. We got like a month of stuff to cover, and we only have an hour to do it.
We got a lot, yeah.
Yeah, we
And
sure do.
October has been a hot month for releases.
It has. We, believe it or not, in the month we have not been doing a show. We actually have been going to see stuff. Andy much more so than me, so he's going to be holding down some of these towards the end. Here's what I'm thinking. Non-traditional format. Andy and I were talking about this before we got started. What we're going to do is we're going to do 3 big reviews in this episode. Normally we do a little news, a review, a little middle segment where we talk about something small, a second review, and then the show's over. Instead, we're going to just hit some news real fast. We're going to do reviews for... do we have an order for these, Andy?
Yes, yes, we do.
Okay. We're gonna do reviews in some particular order. We're gonna cover Venom, Let There Be Carnage. We're gonna cover Halloween Kills, and we're gonna cover No Time to Die. We've seen all 3 of these features in theaters. We're excited to talk about them with you. After that, we're gonna hit some mini reviews, stuff that's important, but maybe we don't have as much time to spend on it. Namely, the Many Saints of Newark, A24's Lamb, which Andy went and saw. I have not seen it, so it's gonna be a little correspondence from him there, and then also Ridley Scott's The Last Duel, which Andy also has seen. He's been killing it going to films, and I'm very impressed. So
Keeping the theaters, single-handedly keeping the theaters alive.
you're gonna have to bring the knowledge, Andy. These movies are not killing it at the box office, so you're giving us the inside scoop.
That's right.
That's right. So, Andy, lots of news, lots of things have happened over the last month. What do you want to talk about?
All right, so we're just going to touch on some of these real quick. Some big things that happened in the last month. Number one, Scarlett Johansson and Disney settled their lawsuit. She had sued Disney about her earnings with Black Widow going to streaming. That was a big deal, and they've settled as we had said they would.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, there was some kind of tweet that went out from Disney saying they were looking forward to seeing Scarlett in like one of their next, I don't know, straight to Disney features or something.
Yeah,
So like, not only did they resolve it, but she's going to continue working with the House of Mouse. I guess it really is just business.
yeah, exactly.
Huh.
Next up, Venom 2, which came out at the beginning of the month, had a huge box office opening with $90 million, which might be a pandemic best or
My God.
very close to it. Huge opening for a comic book film. Not surprising in some ways, but it is funny because a lot of films pushed, like we said, Mission Impossible 7 and Top Gun Maverick, both pushed to the, next summer. But Venom doing really well at the box office.
I could say I myself was surprised, but we'll get into it more when we talk about the film.
Another big headline. We were really excited about this. Actress Jamie Clayton is going to play the new Pinhead in the Pinhead remake coming out next year.
The new
Uh,
Hellraiser movie, yeah.
yeah, so they're supposed to be doing this like kind of completely new reboot. I think it's probably. I think it's actually done filming, but it's going to come out in 2022. I think on Amazon Prime. Jamie Clayton is best known for the L Word and also Sense8, I believe. But that's big news. We're going to have a Lady Pinhead or some sort of maybe androgynous Pinhead.
I'm personally excited about that. I think it would be easy for people to be like, "Oh, they're gender swapping Pinhead." No, dude, that's gonna be rad. Pinhead's all about the whole, succubus demon thing, dragging people to hell. Like, I think gender's a little irrelevant. Why not have a chick Pinhead? It'll probably be cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Be good. And all right, so getting into some things more recent. So over the weekend we had DC Fandom, which was a big DC event where they kind of announced a lot of things for their shows,
Yeah.
comics.
They sure did.
movies. And one of the big things we had was the release of a new trailer for The Batman, starring Robert Pattinson himself. And this was a hot trailer. It looks we got a little bit of a look at the Riddler, who's looking like it's going to be the main villain. It looks super gritty. It looks even darker and grittier than the Nolan films, if that's possible. We got a good look at Catwoman, at Penguin, the new Batmobile, and it got me pretty excited. I watched it a few times.
Yeah, it's a really slick looking trailer. Robert Pattinson, of course, as a young Bruce Wayne. Andy Serkis as Alfred, his butler. Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman. Colin Farrell as Penguin, and a ton of makeup. That is him, right? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. And not only is he unrecognizable, he also just has a completely different voice as well.
Yeah. Jeffrey Wright is Commissioner Gordon. Really interesting cast. And Paul Dano as what appears to be a young Riddler. Very fascinating. It's got a lot of that like Heath Ledger as Joker casting energy. Some of these seem really erratic. Some of them seem really exciting, but the trailer looks rad. If they could stick the landing, if this movie comes out and it's good stuff, I mean, I think they got a hot property on their hands.
Yeah, I mean, I think people get so excited for Batman, and a lot of this did kind of remind me of the Dark Knight or like the Nolan trilogy, but I think that's on purpose. A lot of kind of homages, and I also have to remember, like that movie's kind of old now. It's actually 13 years old, and I mean, there's middle schoolers who will not have seen the Dark Knight, so for them, a lot of this is very new.
Oh God, that makes me feel old. Yeah, that's actually very true. Dark Knight is like old now. Old man shouting at clouds. And hey, one more thing before we jump into movies. There's been stuff getting pushed back, like lots of stuff getting pushed back, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, you do know where I'd love to actually expound on this one and act like I've read the news, but I unfortunately haven't. What's moving around?
So Disney moved a ton of their basically all their Marvel properties got pushed back by anywhere from 2 months to 4 months, and I don't have the full list, but things like Doctor Universe, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is getting pushed to May. The May release, which was Thor: Love and Thunder, is getting pushed to July. The July release, which was Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, is getting pushed to the fall. So everything's just kind of, it's a domino effect. All the Marvel properties for their next year are basically getting pushed back by about 2 to 4 months, depending on the property. Yeah. And also the big one is Indiana Jones 5, which has been delayed a ton. It's been delayed a full year and will come out in July 2023, so almost 2 years.
I think they've shot most of Indy 5, right? I feel like I remember seeing set photos at some point, but maybe I'm misremembering. I don't know. I did see Harrison Ford's gonna be 82 when that film comes out, which seems old on the one hand, but then again, dude, Samuel Jackson is in his 70s and he's like in all the Marvel films, or as many as they want him to be in, I guess. Like, I'm not that impressed by an 82-year-old. Clint Eastwood's like 90 and he's putting out movies. 82? Come on, that's young. This is, I guess, a sore result of what happens when you have only a few studios that really own everything. It's a bummer to see a bunch of stuff all get moved around, and I never really love where everything goes. Something always gets pushed to January. Something always gets kicked to like early February. Something gets pushed out of Oscars season. Like, it never really feels like anybody's happy. But, for the most part, I guess I get it. Some of these make sense.
Well, and the other thing, it's like Marvel is replaced with Marvel. You're just pushing back one Marvel movie and replacing it with a different one. Sure. And there's still the DC stuff has to come out as well. But it means we're only going to get 3 Marvel movies next year instead of 4.
Yeah. Well,
whatever shall we do?
I suppose that's not a bad thing. Yeah. Oh no. Rip off script. What are we going to talk about with only 3 Marvel films coming out here?
I have to only watch Bold Cinema.
My head gets dizzy. Yeah. Anyway, well, we're excited to see what Marvel films are coming up, whether there's 3 or 4 or whatever gets released next year. And so if you want to keep up with us and Marvel movies and find out if they're worth your time, subscribe to Off Script Film Review for more. Anyway, sorry, shameless plug the show. Let's jump into reviews. The first one, it looks like we've got him taking the summary on this one. And it's Halloween, right? I got this in order. It's Halloween for sure. Thanks. Yeah, it's going to be Halloween Kills. So, Halloween Kills is the story of Michael Meyers and Laurie Strode continuing and the next thrilling chapter of the exciting new saga created by David Gordon Green and Danny McBride in 2018. Of course, Halloween Kills is a sequel to the 2018 feature Halloween, which is like a sequel reboot of the 1975 feature Halloween from John Carpenter. It features, obviously, Michael Meyers, Laurie Strode, and the town of Haddonfield, all the wonderful properties we know, with soundtrack by the original film creator, John Carpenter. Really good stuff. Halloween Kills is a more serious spin on, I think, what the 2018 Halloween feature did. Michael Myers has escaped his fiery tomb from the end of the first Halloween film, the 2018 Halloween film, I want to be clear. And he is wreaking havoc on the town of Haddonfield once again. And Laurie Strode has to rally her courage and escape the hospital, maybe, and stop him while the town of Haddonfield finds their own ways to tackle the boogeyman. It's an exciting feature. I think it's just under 2 hours. I want to say like an hour 45. Andy and I had the pleasure of seeing at the historic Texas Theater. Andy, what do you think of Halloween Kills?
So I think I like this more than everyone else did. I'm not a huge like Halloween fanboy. Like I literally the first Halloween movie I saw from beginning to end was the 2018 one. Like still haven't seen the original. I haven't seen a bunch of but like Michael Myers is such a well-known horror property. Like I've known about him all my life. But I did think I enjoyed this more than the average person. I don't know a lot of the lore, and this movie features a lot of the kids from it's either the original film or some of the earlier films.
I can fill in some of those blanks, yeah.
Okay, all grown up and old, and they're a big part of the story. They're trying to band together and fight Michael Myers himself. There's a lot of really gruesome kills. Like the gore and body horror is pretty stark, it's good horror stuff. The story gets a little bloated in the middle. There's this kind of really long second act that gets a little bit bogged down in like the town coming together to kind of evil dies tonight.
Yeah.
But for me overall, it was a good time, and it's it's a slasher fic, which I often say that slasher genre is kind of dead. It's it's a artifact of its time. But this really worked for me in a lot of ways. It definitely the stalker kills are really disturbing. So overall, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, Halloween Kills is surprisingly delightful, I think, at times, I should say, if you're a fan of the older films. Andy's got a unique perspective. He hasn't seen them. I have. By the way, I should clarify, earlier I said John Carpenter's Halloween came out in 75. It was 1978. Sorry. Thanks, IMDb, for filling in on the podcast. Yeah, I've seen a bunch of them, and the older Halloween films, originally started as a very simple concept. Originally, they were going to be anthology films. Only the first one was going to feature Michael Myers, and then they were going to just spin off and be a different spooky story, each happening on Halloween night, right? That's what those were supposed to be. But the first one came out and it was so crushingly popular, the studio demanded Carpenter make another film featuring Myers. At the end of Halloween 2, Michael Myers is supposed to die, escape. And then Halloween 3, they're on to Season of the Witch, and they're doing totally different stuff. Of course, historically, we know this didn't work out. Halloween 3 came out and was a huge bomb because Michael Myers wasn't in it. Then Halloween 4 had Michael Myers, and Halloween 5 had Michael Myers. Now Michael Myers is in all the Halloween movies. And the Halloween films tried to make a lot of efforts to explain the lore of Michael Myers, which has never really been any. At one point, he is revealed to be Laurie Strode's brother, which was a surprise, and that's part of the reason he wants to murder her, because she's his sister, and that's what he did when he was 6 years old, right? And another one, he is part of a cult, and he is like a force of evil that's raised by a religious cult on the town of Haddonfield, which is crazy. Now, these new films, starting in 2018, Halloween, and now this one, Halloween Kills, they retcon all of that. They don't pay attention to any of that lore. They basically act like Halloween 1 and 2 happened, and then we're here. So that's the deal. That's kind of where we're coming from. It's all these years later. We're under the assumption that this Michael Myers is not Laurie Strode's brother. He's not part of a cult. But Halloween Kills does make some efforts to try to kind of explain who he is and where he comes from, and really like what Michael Myers is as a force of evil. And the town of Haddonfield rallies around that. Like Andy said, there's a bunch of former cast members of the films in this movie, which is weird. We have Anthony Michael Hall falling right out of John Hughes, The Breakfast Club, and 16 Candles, but now he's older, of course. Like it's old Anthony Michael Hall, and he plays Tommy Doyle, who was one of the children in the original Halloween that Laurie was babysitting. He was next door, I think. The girl Laurie was babysitting is also in this film. They went and found her from the 1978, and she's actually in the movie. It's the girl, and she's here as she was getting stalked by Michael Myers, I guess. A nurse that was in the original film is in this film. She's avenging Dr. Loomis, I guess. So a lot of like Halloween lore, and I realize I've been talking way too long to say all of this, but I appreciate that Halloween Kills tries to make efforts like to tackle this stuff, but it actually I think is a detriment to the film. It's too much baggage, and the movie's trying to hold up too many characters and too many people who want to try to get one over on Michael Myers, and it's like this is too complicated.
Yeah, ultimately, one of the things this movie suffers from is too many plots going on at the same time. There's of course Michael Myers escaping this fire and coming to we assume to kill Laurie Strode, as he's been trying to do all his life. There is this thing of the town banding together via Tommy Doyle and the other survivors of the first Myers attack. Coming together, rallying the town. We're gonna fight him. We're gonna defeat him before he defeats.
Evil dies tonight.
Evil dies tonight. Yeah.
Evil dies tonight. They chanted a million times.
Hashtag Evil dies tonight. It's
yes.
hilarious.
Hashtag Evil dies tonight.
Yeah, and then it is whatever Michael is doing, which is seemingly just kind of stalking whoever at will. His kills, but these plot lines are, I think, meant to intermesh, but they really don't. And the one that's probably the messiest and could have been left out was this whole like rallying the town together. I like the idea of the four survivors coming together. Like, they would have been cool if that was like a group of 4 or 5 of them, but they like rallied literally the whole town to the cause, and then it's just kind of chaotic.
Right. At one point, Tommy Doyle pulls into a street corner, gets out of his truck holding a baseball bat, and he says, "I need help for people who aren't afraid to get their hands dirty."
Yeah, there's this whole mob justice
they're all
thing
gonna go murder
going.
Michael Myers, which, of course, if you've seen any Halloween films, is, to be fair, is decent setup for some exciting kills, because as we all know, like, nobody murders Michael Myers. That's not how it works, and anybody who thinks they're gonna get one over on him totally isn't. Because he's a giant, animal in the body of a 6-year-old man. And so this is good setup for people to roll into Michael Myers' crib or wherever he's at, thinking, "Ooh, we're gonna get one over on him," and that's good. It creates a kind of plot-fed conveyor belt of bodies for Michael to run into, and the kills in this movie, as in the title, Halloween Kills, are really tremendous. Those actually work really well. Andy, do you want to expound for a minute before I gush about how good the kills are in this film?
There's a variety of kills. There happen variety of ways. They're very, very violent. And see, that's the thing. Maybe that's why I didn't mind the shortcomings of this movie, because I was just like, I'm just here to watch Michael Myers kill people.
Yes.
And he does a lot. And it's, I mean, you could make a whole drinking game out of the different kills and things. He kind of does. The problem is, though, is he kind of does seem indestructible, and they walk this line of like, is he a man? Is he supernatural? We never really know. It seems like they kind of try to explain it or hint at it, but we never really get there.
Yeah, it's a shame. I kind of thought maybe that would get. It's hinted at the end of the previous film when Michael is locked in Laurie Strode's house in the basement, and Laurie Strode and family light the house on fire and leave. And the whole thing goes up in smoke. And it's like, well, that's the end of Michael Myers, right? And it's kind of hinted like, well, maybe he somehow gets out. And this movie actually has an explanation as to how that happens, which is, it's a little phony considering the end of the previous film. That house was ablaze. There's no way anything walks out of that house. But Halloween Kills tries to kind of have its cake and eat it too by on the one hand ascribing him as essentially a mortal man who is fortunate or lucky that he doesn't get shot or stabbed by other people, and that can be a lot of fun. At the same time, there are scenes when like he clearly is defying the laws of mortality.
Yeah.
And it's just not a problem. And it's like I don't know if you can always toe that line. I think what's so fun about Halloween as an idea is just the simplicity, right? It's just a crazy guy in a neighborhood, right? It's just a babysitter trying to get away. Like it's simple. And this movie does have a tendency to get overwrought with that stuff for sure. But the kills are a ton of fun because those are the moments when the movie pushes the plots aside and it draws way down to like one person sneaking through a house hoping Michael's not in there, or two people with a flashlight and a pistol looking for Michael Myers, and you don't know what's going to happen. And like in those quiet moments when you get the jump scares, when you get the fun, even a couple of laughs. This movie's not as funny as the previous one. I think Danny McBride was asked to rein it in a little bit to the film's benefit. It's a ton of fun. And the audience we watched it with, they were laughing, they were gasps. You see people jump in their seats. Like, it's great. It's a lot of.
Yeah, it'll definitely make you wince and make you kind of like cringe in pain, which is good. Which is, I think that what this kind of horror movie should do. And this is again part of like usually why I say the slasher genre is dead is because it's just not scary. And this isn't necessarily very scary either, but it's terrifying when like you're trapped by Michael Myers. You can't defeat him, you can't escape, and he's gonna like brutally kill you with his bare hands.
Yeah, I think this movie's shot really well. To speak towards the wincing, which I did in multiple scenes. At one scene, I just started laughing because the kill was so brutal. I couldn't believe I was watching it in the theater. I was like, oh my god, that's horrifying. They used a lot of practical effects, which is a great throwback to 80s Carpenter. I mean, his work with I can't remember his name. His work on films like The Thing, The Halloween, like his practical effects work was always really solid. And there's definitely some in this film, and it's gruesome, man. Oh my god! Even if you know something's fake, even if you know, okay, that's obviously a fake dummy head when it explodes, it's still brutal to watch in the moment, and that's a testament to how well the film's made. I think the film's really well shot. I actually like the editing a lot. I think it's editing. I'm sorry. I like the lighting. I don't like the editing. I think it's over edited. Outside of the kill scenes, it moves fast and there's a lot of cuts, and the plot trying to juggle Anthony Michael Hall's character and other survivors and Laurie Strode and her family, who are mostly relegated to the background for this film. It's just too busy. It's just too much.
Yeah, like we said, there's really too much going on in the overall. The plot gets bogged down. Like I said, in the between, and there's also the scenes that go to like nostalgia 1970s, which is probably neat if you're more familiar with those. But you got things happen in 1970. You got the young kids. You got the town. You got Laurie Strode in the hospital for pretty much the whole movie.
Most of the film, yeah.
Her just kind of pontificating from her.
She's waiting for the third film, Andy. That's what she's doing, but they can't say that on screen.
A lot of people have said this feels like a filler episode to the final, which will be Halloween Ends.
Halloween Ends will be the next one. We got to call it right now. I bet anything the tag for that film is Evil Dies Tonight. Has to be. They literally chant it in this film.
Yeah.
Like I'd be shocked if it was anything else. Yes, it does feel like a bit of a filler. Laurie Strode is kind of, she's sitting in the corner for most of the film, whereas you kind of got other characters with us the front. The benefit of that is, with a messy plot and good kills, is you actually really look forward to seeing Michael on screen. Like when Michael shows up, the film is going to get better because that's when it's going to zoom in and hone in on what works and like what's functionally good about Halloween, which is suspense and this guy who is just a madman. And I love it. I had a surprising amount of fun with this film, even though I don't know if it's the best in the series, even the new ones per se. Andy, any other thoughts for recommendations?
No, I'm ready.
Andy, would you recommend Halloween Kills?
Yeah, I think it would, especially if you're a fan of the series, you got to see it. If you're just looking for some scares and some gore and violence, some good Halloween fun, this is also for you. Like I said, it feels a little long and it gets a little bogged down in the second act, but overall, I had a good time. I laughed, I winced, I cried. All emotions, and it's killing at the box office as well. It had a huge $50 million opening, and it also came out on the Peacock streaming service, which a lot of people didn't know about.
yeah, I think a lot of people missed that. I had to look up before the show whether or not it was on Peacock or Paramount Plus because I wasn't sure. I would recommend this as well, I think, especially if you're more up on previous Halloween films, or if you just generally aren't really going to be bothered by like kind of the looser plot trappings. Like Andy didn't seem to have a problem with it, not having seen those original films. Like there's enough here clearly to enjoy the meat of what's happening. The kills are good. It's a little chaotic, but I think it's fun. If you're trying to go in and see everything older like I was, like you might be a little low. There's just a lot going on in the plot, I guess I'm saying. But it's really fun kills. I do think it's better than the previous one. And probably good in a theater. And I think if you don't have the means, if you're just gonna watch it at home, like maybe watch the first one right before this, because it really this just feels like a bridge to something a little bit. And I think if you're watching at home, it'd be really easy to just go from like one Blu-ray to another, right? Or like finish watching Halloween and roll right into this one, and then hopefully in a year when
Right.
Halloween ends. So otherwise, good stuff. I was impressed with Halloween Kills. Not too shabby. And speaking of not too shabby, we should jump into our second film. The movie is No Time to Die. So, No Time to Die is the final film in Daniel Craig's James Bond sequence of films. Sorry, I'm still organizing myself on the back end. Got notes together. Here we go. Yes, in No Time to Die, James Bond has left active service. He is no longer a 00. He's officially retired. He's out of the business, all right? He's not doing this MI6 stuff anymore until Felix Leiter comes back into his life, played by Jeffrey Wright, and tells him, "Hey, I got one last job. You gotta come do this for me." And upon reluctantly agreeing to maybe consult, James Bond ends up getting pulled into a world of mystery and intrigue, and a villain armed with a dangerous bioweapon that, of course, is set to ruin the world if James Bond doesn't swoop in to save the day. It's a surprisingly poignant send-off for Craig. This is his fifth film in the franchise. I think it actually does a great job of, kind of giving a good tip of the hat to him and kind of his legacy and where he's brought the Bond franchise. But it does suffer from a plot that's just a little bland. Andy, what did you think of No Time to Die?
Well, as you said, bland. James Bland.
James Bland.
Well, no, that's a little
right, that's mean. Yeah.
that's a little harsh. That would be a good newspaper title.
For sure.
No, this movie's okay. For something that we waited for a long time and was continually pushed back, and they were very protective over the release date and ensuring that it would not come out on streaming. So for something that was kind of hyped and protected that much, it's really just kind of okay. I didn't see the previous Bond film, so I have a lot of I have no idea what's going on with a lot of this plot because it's definitely continuing from the previous movie, so that kind of harms it. I like the first half, but in the second half we get a lot of the good action sequences, the kind of stuff that you've seen in the trailer. That's when we get Ana de Armas. Ana de Armas is only in this movie about as long as she is in the trailer, and I was angry.
It's a light spoiler. It's worth mentioning. Yeah, she is barely in the film, which is criminal because she's really good and steals her scenes when she's on screen. I mean it.
Yeah. It's fine. It just again, what was all the excitement about? What was the reason for not releasing this? Because it's for all the kind of fight they put up to protect in this property. It's just kind of okay. Like, it wasn't bad. I don't think it's a bad film. It's a little long, but it's not a standout either. Of this more modern Bond, I definitely like Casino Royale and Skyfall more.
Yeah, it's a shame. I think you're right. This film feels like two halves of a larger whole. The first half of this film is really solid. It's 2 hours 43 minutes. It is an endeavor going to see No Time to Die. So word to the wise: go to the bathroom right before you walk into the film. You're going to be there the whole time. The first half of the movie feels like a modern rendition of like classic Bond as we know him, right? Craig has grown very far from his performance in Casino Royale as this young, gruff, very new hotshot 007 who's quicker to throw a punch than he is to use a gadget. Now he's got gadgets, he's got the Aston Martin, like he's the suave James Bond who wants his martini shaken, not stirred. Like, he is he's got Q and money pennies at the office, and M is there. It's a whole thing. He's got everything 007 would have, except, of course, he's not 007 anymore. He's retired, and he kind of gets back into it, and that stuff is really exciting. But then the second half of the film, once we get into this plot of like, hey, there's, a bioterrorist who's going to destroy the world if we don't do something quick, it just feels bland, and it just feels tired, and it's a shame because that's where our experience with Craig should be rising into a crescendo, and it feels almost like the film's backwards. Like kind of that best stuff is up front, and the end is good. It really is, and it's got a very poignant kind of conclusion to his arc as Bond, and a good, I think, a surprisingly effective setup for what's next in a roundabout way. But it just, you come out of the film thinking, yeah, that was kind of lame, and like it's a shame because I think in hindsight it's not, but the last chunk of it just feels a little dry.
Yeah, I think if we had seen it when it was supposed to come out, which was about April 2020,
Yeah.
or even 6 months later, I don't think I would have been as critical because it would have just been like, it's a James Bond film. But because they protected it and made such a stink about the release and how we only do films, we only do theaters, that sort of thing. I was just like, oh, this is it.
Yeah.
for that.
It's really unique. You're right. Like their marketing campaign across this thing has been monstrous. I mean, here, if you're watching on Facebook Live, here's a quick practical example I can show you. This wallpaper I've got up to show our film while we talk about it features the original release date in theaters, April 2020. Look at this like gold and blue color. He's got the sweater on. He looks rad. It's great. Okay, now here's the updated marketing for this year. Classic Bond, like tux. He's got the bow tie. He's got the little pistol, black and white. It's so different, and it's a shame because like I feel like they represent something different and they shouldn't, but they do. And like ultimately I think it's good stuff, but I do like Bond and I do like what I saw, but man, they really held on to this thing like they had a tiger by the tail, and it's not better than like Casino Royale or Spectre. I don't think it's like mid-tier, I think, for the 5, which isn't bad, but it's important to know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like I said, I think a good send-off for Bond. I do want to talk briefly about performances. I did enjoy everybody in it. Of course, Craig, I think, is actually having a lot of fun as kind of an older Bond who's maybe a little bit more sensitive. I think it's important to kind of distill Bond down to a finer, classier gentleman for the 21st century. And in this one, he does that. He's not too womanizing. He's pretty chill. He's got a couple lines that are tasteful, I think.
He's a family man.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit, yeah, right. Yeah, and I think that's probably good. Additionally, Ana de Armas is tremendous in the film and is barely in it. Lashana Lynch is who I'm thinking of, plays Nomi, kind of swaps in as the new 007. She's really good. She could probably carry her own films. Rami Malek is our bad guy's a ton of fun. Ralph Fiennes is M. I mean, solid work all around. It feels like a quality blockbuster production. I mean, it really does.
Yeah, I thought that Rami Malek was he's kind of, I'm not gonna say he's overdoing it, but he's like he's turned up to 11 because he doesn't really he gets to do basically villain monologues, and he does them really well. He's got this super creepy like glazed over look.
Like he might have been taking it more seriously than like the filmmakers did, because it's like his scenes almost don't do his delivery justice when the camera pulls in close and he doesn't blink for a minute and delivers a straight monologue. Like, it's creepy, man. He's good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like you said, Lashana Lynch and Ana de Armas are fantastic. I mean, Craig's always been good, and then we have the other Moneypenny. I forget the Q.
Ben Whishaw.
Ben Whishaw.
Moneypenny is Naomi Harris, who's also great. God, I watched Pirates of the Caribbean 2 again not that long ago. Dude,
yeah,
she's incredible actress. My God, why doesn't she get more work? Anyway, Jeffrey Wright. So, I mean, solid cast. It feels exactly like the blockbuster it's been sold as.
Yeah.
It's just long, and I think it suffers from a little bit of pacing because of that, which is a shame. But a quality send-off. Andy, while we're on it, before we get to formal review, who do you think? I mean, any ballpark guesses for next Bond?
Man, I can't even guess. Everyone's so boring. The only interesting rumor I've heard is Henry Golding.
Henry Golding's exciting. I would be very excited to see Henry Golding as Bond. Additionally, I forget his name. Jean-Rene Page from Bridgerton fame has been talked about. He'd be very exciting. I know Dev Patel won't get it, but I love the idea.
Yeah, it's gonna be a while because I mean,
right. And then
they're
Yeah.
they're gonna have to reboot this, and it's gonna kind of start over from the beginning. They got to re-envision
Right.
it.
You've got to go in a different direction. Assumedly, Craig will not be appearing in the next film. I mean,
Yes.
that's not how Bonds typically work. So they're gonna have to do something here.
So there's probably 3 years to the next Bond.
Yeah. Anyway, Andy, would you recommend No Time to Die?
I would recommend it for fans of the franchise. If you're a diehard Bond fan, you're probably going to know a lot more about what's going on. You're going to understand a lot of the references. Apparently, there's tons of references to older Bond films all throughout the movie. I didn't see them because I'm not that familiar with the property. If you're not a huge Bond fan, you might save it for streaming. It is super long, and if, like I said, if you haven't seen the last film and all of kind of these 5 films fairly recently, you're probably gonna be a little lost.
Yeah. I would recommend it as well if you're a Bond fan. If you've seen none of them, probably pass. Like you're not going to be ready for the 2 hour 45 minute endeavor this movie is. It's just going to feel like a lot, and you're going to want to get your phone out and do anything else. So, but if you enjoy the films, if you have seen a couple of them in theaters, which you may have, if you're up on Craig Bond, you don't have to be any kind of diehard Bond fan, right, to get what's going on here. But there's some really good nods to the originals back in the day. I think you'll enjoy this. I do, you need something to go see with your guy friends, or you want to take your dad or your son out to go see a film or something, like, go for it. Yeah, No Time to Die. It'd be a ton of fun, right? Get some popcorn. It'd be all right. And I think if you want to see, maybe get a look at where Bond might be headed next, this might be your last chance. I mean, from here, Amazon has purchased MGM, right? We really have no idea which direction they're going in next, but each Bond, I think the most successful ones, they blaze a trail a little bit. They do something new. They bring something to the role that hasn't been there before. And I don't know if anybody has a good answer for what that's going to be. So we'll see. Keep it here on Off Script for more. We've got one more proper review to do, and then we got 3 quick reviews. My God, Andy, we're over halfway through the show. I'm thinking we can make this work. I feel okay about this.
We can do it.
You want to take the summary for the next one, please?
Venom, Let There Be Carnage. So this is the sequel to the 2018 Venom film. This one is directed by Andy Serkis, bringing back Tom Hardy as Eddie Brock / Venom, and also introducing Woody Harrelson as Cletus Cassidy / Carnage. We find Eddie Brock and Venom still kind of fighting with each other, being at odds, living in the same person in the same environment. And then we also are introduced to Cletus Cassidy, like I said, played by Woody Harrelson, who is a serial killer of international renown and who's been put on death row, and he's awaiting the death penalty. We also get some backstory of he has a love interest named Shriek, played by Naomi Harris, who was also in Bond. He eventually, for some reason, he wants to tell Eddie Brock his life story. They meet, they kind of exchange some unpleasantries, and from the trailer we see that Woody Harrelson gets infected with whatever the symbiote is and becomes the Carnage thing. The plot is a little simple because basically Carnage's whole thing is just trying to rescue his girlfriend of like 30 years after 30 years in prison. And Eddie Brock and Venom kind of fight and break up as a couple, for lack of a better term. And they have to eventually make up and come together to fight Carnage. It's very kind of thin beer standard comic book plot, nothing too groundbreaking. But that's our setup. Zach, what do you think?
So, fans of the show may remember, I was not a big fan of the first Venom film. I didn't really understand what Sony was trying to tackle when they were, making something that was kind of like a Marvel movie, but not really. I guess they had already started their new Spider-Man films at this point, so they had already kind of tied into what Marvel was doing, kind of their direction for comic book films, but Venom was a bit of a different thing, and I wasn't really a fan. I didn't really like it. But then it came out, and Venom is huge internationally and also has like a huge online following. And it turns out this film is, I think, trying to angle maybe a little more towards that audience. It's a bit self-aware, as people have said, but the issue is I don't think when they were making the movie they meant for it to be self-aware. I think that's a result of the shortcomings of the film, right? I don't think this is a surgically made self-aware film where anytime they did something goofy or funny or made a mistake in the film, they thought, "Ooh, fans will love this." I think it's just lacking, and I think people are, ascribing value where there isn't some. There is some stuff in here that I think is effective, though, and ultimately I did like it more than the first one. So while that's confusing, Andy, what did you think?
So this is a short film. It's like 95 minutes long.
Yeah.
So it's not great, but it's quick, and so that actually makes it more enjoyable. Yeah, like I said, the plot is really simple. This weird love story between Shriek and Carnage. Woody Harrelson doesn't really get to scene chew as he should as a serial killer, but it's just enough. It's like there's just enough plot for you to get to the action scenes. It's that kind of film, and yeah, like the effects are really good. Everyone loves Venom. He's almost like Joker in popularity. Like people will just go because this film is not very good, but that's the other thing. It killed at the box office, $90 million opening, one of the biggest of the pandemic. Better
Huge.
than
Yeah.
better than the two Marvel films that came out, Black Widow and Shang-Chi. So it's got a huge fan base, and it does do some things right. It's got a lot of laughs. There's a lot of good jokes. Definitely chuckled quite a bit throughout the film. But like I said, unfortunately, it's just the plot is just there to get you to the next fight scene. There are a lot, and there's definitely there is a post-credit scene you definitely need to stay for, and kind of points to the future of Venom.
So there's some kind of interesting points regarding the writing, because I agree it's definitely its weakest point. There's some like jump the shark levels of logic leaping in the beginning at the beginning of this film in order to set up later events, right? Like the idea of Eddie Brock interviewing this crazed serial killer for functionally absolutely no reason at the beginning of the film is never really explained. And that's one of like a series of logical problems that don't fit here. The story for Venom Let There Be Carnage is actually written by Tom Hardy, our lead. He also helped write the screenplay, and he's an executive producer on the film, which means he probably put a bunch of money in as well. Additionally, he is obviously our lead, Eddie Brock, and he voices Venom. I'm not going to say this is like an example of how your lead actor like writing and funding and starring in your project can go poorly, but what I will say is I think this could have used a little bit more red pen on that first draft is all. Like somebody should have gone through and said, "Okay, hold on. Let's string this together a little bit more." But I don't know if that was part of the sales pitch here. Like I have a feeling this was originally written to be short and small and simple so they could turn out a 90-minute feature. Andy Serkis is a fine director, but he's a bit of an up and comer. He's mostly second unit stuff up until recently. It just doesn't feel like they put in the money or the effort to make something actually good here. It feels like they were legitimately aiming for like B tier, not going to be good enough.
It reminds me
like,
of
I don't know why you do that.
It reminds me of some of the Transformers. Transformers like 2 or 3 was accused of like they were like filming action scenes before they even had a script.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how this feels a lot, where they're like, they know they're gonna do some cool motion capture stuff. You're gonna get the two symbiotes fighting, and this was a good comment I heard elsewhere, that if you're gonna do a lot of motion capture directing, Andy Serkis is the man to do it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like I said, the plot just isn't very interesting. Unfortunately, Cletus Cassidy isn't as interesting as he should be. I mean, he should be like Joker level, monologuing villain, and he really is. And like you said, we are never really given a good reason about why he wants to talk to Eddie Brock. He's just like, I'll share my story with you.
That's like one basic. There's like 8 things in this film that happen that you're like, why would the characters do that? That doesn't make any sense. And the answer is just to move the plot forward, because like there's really not a whole lot going on in the background. I mean, leading to the film, I thought Harrelson might be like chewing the scenery, and then I quickly realized, no, he's just getting a paycheck. Like he knows exactly what this movie is, and he doesn't care.
He has this terrible toupee.
Oh God, it's so bad. Yeah, it's on the poster. Oh my God. Anyway, and that's what I mean. Like I just can't help but feel like everybody making this movie was phoning it in, and it's like, except Tom Hardy, who I think is swinging at it and does a good job in his role and as Venom. He's good voice acting by him again. And I do like the Venom Brock situation. Yeah, like Andy said, there's a bit of a split. The two of them are like, hey, this isn't really working for either of us. Maybe we should go our separate ways. And that stuff's actually kind of fun. Like, I don't mind that, but like that's something that would be relegated to like an issue or two of a series of comics, right? Like to ground that in a whole film is a little clumsy, and ultimately it just makes the stuff around it feel loose. Like it is an interesting relationship. I do like the idea of that, of Venom being like, hey man, like, you know, I don't take this from you. I'm a symbiote from space. That stuff's rad, but ultimately like it's not enough to carry a whole film. And it shouldn't have been enough to be positioned as that. That should have been a small part of something larger. I wish this was a 2-hour, you know, really taken serious swing at like something rad. That's what I thought the first film was going to be. And like,
Yeah, you could do a little bit of
not what's going on here. Yeah, it's not what these movies are.
You could do a little bit of a Hannibal Lecter thing.
Yeah.
You know, something, and it's just like you have the opportunity to do some real interesting stuff script wise, and they just don't.
Yeah. And this one instead leans a little bit more into like the goofy stuff than it does the serious stuff, but that's okay.
Right.
Because the series might be headed in a unique direction due to a couple of post-credit scenes that we won't spoil on the show, but stick around and, you know, right into the show if you watch them after the movie and let us know what you think. Andy, what else do we have to talk about with this thing?
I'm ready for.
I don't want to just
for
knock it down, but I feel like I'm talking in circles. Yeah, Andy, would you recommend Venom: Let There Be Carnage?
Similar to Bond, I would recommend it to comic book fans, fans of the first film, Spider-Man. If you're into this character or comic books stuff at all, you're probably going to enjoy it. If you're looking for a deeper film with better like characters and plot, this isn't it. But it's the plot exists for the action scenes, for the CGI stuff. The effects are good. Our fights are good. It's a quick 90 minutes. So unless you're a fan, sorry. If you're a fan, go see it. If you're not, save it for streaming.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. If you liked the first film and you were able to like see what the first film was doing and enjoyed it, you're probably gonna really like this one. It's more of that. If you're coming at this for anything like a Marvel Studios experience, you're not gonna get it. This is also not a DC Studios experience. It's unique in what it is, but I don't know. I don't think I'm just not. I don't know. So somehow this one doesn't dance for me in the same way as other films do. Like I feel like I see what it's doing in this one more than the first one. I feel like I get kind of the tone and the direction, but I just see so much potential in Hardy and in this character and in the budget they're putting into stuff like this. And like I don't know. I hope they do more. Because I think there will be more Venom, you know, in the future. I hope he's given some real dramatic opportunity. We'll see. But Venom: Let There Be Carnage, not bad, I guess. Anyway, we are moving on to our final section of the show. We're going to do something unique here we haven't done before, I don't think. A series of 3 short reviews. Andy, do we have something we want to call this section? I was thinking something simple like shut up and play the hits, or...
That sounds good to me.
All right. I don't have any music this episode because my computer's on the fritz, but maybe in the future we'll call it Shut Up and Play the Hits. Andy, what are we talking about first?
So we're going to be taking a look at the Many Saints of Newark. This is the Sopranos prequel film created by or written by David Chase, creator of the original Sopranos show. It takes place in the 1960s and follows our original Tony Soprano and company. You know, the Sopranos is about lots of characters besides Tony Soprano, his family, his father, uncles, aunts, all these people. This story focuses on Dickie Moltisanti, who is Tony Soprano's uncle, and there's a whole lot of like family things that I'll try not to get bogged down with family relationships. But it focuses on Dickie Moltisanti, who is kind of a legend in the Sopranos show. He's never in the show himself. He's just kind of referred to, and his son Christopher Moltisanti is a big character in the show. But this focuses on the father, who is I'm trying to remember the beginning of the
Present,
film.
I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, he's part of the New Jersey crime family, and he gets married early in the film. Basically, everything is bliss, things going well, and then they, like most crime dramas, they fall apart. He has a rivalry with Leslie Odom Jr.'s character, Harold McBrayer.
Yep.
They originally start off as friends and become rivals over the course of the show. And again, it's weird. This is a Sopranos prequel because it's not really about the Sopranos. Tony Soprano, a young Tony Soprano, is in this, and we see him kind of growing up in high school and hitting a lot of the beats. And if you're familiar with the show, there's lots of flashbacks to the 60s to Tony growing up, so it's not a bunch of new stuff. And the film doesn't focus on him very much. It's much more about Dickie Moltisanti, played by Alessandro Nivola. We also get a bunch of the other kind of hits of the Soprano show, such as Olivia Soprano, Junior Soprano, Paulie, Silvio, all these faces that, if you're familiar with the show, we see young versions of them and kind of see how they were and came to be. So that's kind of our setup. It's a little bit of a stock plot in some ways, but Zach, what do you think? Because you did see this.
Yes. So for any of you listening out there who are thinking, I didn't watch The Sopranos, I don't know anything about this movie, and you haven't tuned out yet, good news, I didn't watch it either. All right, so I'm coming in just as fresh as you are on this movie. I am not up on Sopranos. I watched the first season in college. I need to go back and finish watching it at some point. Whatever. There's a lot of movies to watch. All right, I'm up on. I'm doing this film thing now. Anyway, Many Saints of Newark has to walk a fine line, I think, because on the one hand, you obviously have to pay tribute to The Sopranos and to all of the fans who are going to be watching. That is like your marketing gimmick, right? What makes The Many Saints of Newark stand out from any other mobster movie? The Sopranos. That's the whole thing. Like, that's the thing that draws you in. But additionally, it needs to be an interesting mobster, mafia, gangster movie, and that can be hard to do if you're just paying fan service the whole film. So it tries to walk that line by setting the film around Dickie Moltisanti, again played by Alessandro Nivola, who's great, by the way. We really enjoyed him in this film. But it has a problem because most of its, at least initial marketing, was centered around Tony Soprano. That was kind of the look of what was going to be happening here. It was going to be like the Tony Soprano growing up story, when really the film is not that. He is mostly in the background of the film. He does have some relevant scenes, but for the most part, like, he is growing up exclusively in the background. He's not even Dickie Moltisanti's son. Dickie Moltisanti is doing his own thing with his own problems, and those problems make for a decent mobster movie. It's decent. It's solid. It's not bad. With good performances, and obviously some clever nods to the series that I think I missed most of, but that stuff works. The problem is, I think ultimately it may not please anybody, right? Maybe people who came for a fresh mobster movie walk away feeling like, well, that was hollow, and people who came for the Sopranos stuff feel like they were, I don't know, misled. Andy, am I?
Yeah.
I mean, yes, no. What do you think?
No, it's definitely a big issue. I'm a huge Sopranos fan. I've watched the series twice, at least, and it part of what makes that show so good. It's the gangster stuff, but it's really a show about relationships and power dynamics between family members, between the family, the mafia family. There's all this stuff about respect and also people trying to kind of subvert each other and alliances and stuff. If you've seen Game of Thrones, it's very similar to that. Lots of crisscrossing, lots of who are you siding with now? Who are you with now? And that's what really makes that show interesting. These relationships that are constantly shifting and changing with things that happen, respect, disrespect. And we completely lose that in this movie. Like, none of that is in that at all. The other problem is like I said, we get a lot of the Sopranos characters, but they're all just kind of, everyone's doing an impression of a character someone else has played. Like, no one's really free to be, like Junior Soprano, because a lot of the characters are as well known as Tony Soprano, and they're all very, very unique. And so these actors are really reined in, is that they basically just have to try to act like someone else. They can't really make it themselves. And there's also just kind of too many characters. This would probably work better as a miniseries, honestly, because there's just so many Sopranos characters. And like, Junior Soprano's a really important character. He's barely in the movie. Tony's barely in the movie. It was just kind of a weird choice of why this was the story you wanted to tell.
Yeah.
If you're going to bring back all these characters, and like I said, they're stuck all playing, someone
Impressions of, yeah,
impressions.
right.
And I read a comment that it was like some of them it looked like an SNL skit, like that kind of really bad impression of someone else.
It's true. I'll wrap this up because, like I said, there's going to be a mini review. We got a lot. We got two other films to move through here. We're going.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, I did think it has a star-studded cast for who's in it. I mean, John Bernthal, Corey Stoll, Alessandro Nivolo. I'm sure a bunch of other people that I'm currently not thinking of because I don't have the IMDb page up. Sorry. But ultimately, yeah, it feels like nobody really gets enough time in the limelight to do anything special. And I kept thinking, okay, how are these characters going to be relevant later? And I didn't really get it. And I think you just have to watch the show to figure that out. I agree. With so much baggage, it feels like you could have expanded this out from a 3 plot structure to a 5 and done it over 8 or 12 episodes. Do a miniseries, The Many Saints of Newark. HBO would love it, right? They'd run it. They could promote it for weeks. It could be a whole thing. Relegating it to just a film feels small. I don't know. And I think they could have done more. Andy, any other thoughts for recommendations?
Well, I was going to say also, as you said, it's just too much, and the show. I've kind of lost my train of thought, but sure. Like I said, there's a lot going on in the show. This is just kind of a generic gangster film. If you're not familiar with The Sopranos and you're just watching a gangster film, it's very cliche. It hits on a bunch. There's a plot line that to me is straight out of Goodfellas, so it kind of fails on that level as well.
Yeah. The tagline, witness the making of Tony Soprano. Kinda. Like witness the making of the person who influenced Tony Soprano.
Yeah.
Really. Anyway. Andy, would you recommend The Many Saints of Newark?
I would only recommend it for diehard fans of the show, because it was kind of disappointing. It's really kind of mediocre, middle of the road. It doesn't really work as an exciting gangster pick. If you're not a fan, you're going to be completely lost. There are a lot of references, not quite as many as you would think, but there's definitely references to the show. But I think you're just going to be lost because there's so many characters, and if you don't understand those relationships going into the movie, it's just not going to make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of in the same boat. If you're an Alessandro Nivolo fan, I'd say check it out. He's great in it. Carries the whole film. If you're a Sopranos fan, of course, go for it. Feels like some light reading you might want to do if you're excited about the series. Otherwise, I don't really know what the draw is here. Yeah, like I don't think this is going to get nominated for any Academy Awards or anything. Maybe for like set design or costuming or something because it's period, but. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think it does anything really spectacular. If you love The Sopranos, go for it. Otherwise, you can do all right.
Yeah.
Anyway, our next film, I should disclaimer here, the last two I haven't seen. These are going to be Andy-centric. I'm just going to be grilling him.
Right.
I got questions hopefully y'all have sitting at home. Andy, what's the first one?
This first film is called Lamb, and that is this is an Icelandic horror film, distributed by A24, which we all know and love. It's directed by Vladimir Johansson, and it stars Naomi Harris, who we know from lots of film. So this is kind of a strange film. We saw the trailer for this, but basically it's a family of sheep farmers in rural Iceland, who they just tend the sheep on their farm, and one Christmas Eve or Christmas Day they kind of have this miraculous birth, which is already, you can tell, is hinting at certain things, but this kind of half human half lamb child is born to them, and they take it in as their own child. And we learned that they at one point lost a child of their own. And so this kind of seems like some sort of a miracle child that's been kind of given to them. And it's like I said, it has the head of a lamb, the body of a child, and they look at it and they care for it and they love it, and it lives in the house, and it's very weird and bizarre. This movie's got a lot going on. I won't talk too much more about plot. Actually, there's not too much more to say, but there's a lot of symbolism in it. It's very creepy. There's a lot of it just kind of reminds me of The Shining, actually, because they're in this desolate farm. No one is around. It all kind of starts in this big snowstorm, and at one point, the brother of the husband shows up to the farm because he's kind of a ne'er-do-well and always on hard times. So they take him into, spend some time on the farm, and he's freaked out about the lamb child and that they're raising it as their own.
Sorry.
But this movie, so I saw this twice. I kind of didn't like it the first time but it really grew on me, and I ended up seeing it again with a different friend. And I really liked it the second time. There is a lot going on here. It is incredibly symbolic. It's very slow. It is very slow paced. But it's definitely visual cinema. It's telling the story through things that you see. There's not a lot of dialogue. Especially in the first act, you're very much witnessing. It reminds me a little bit of 2001 at the beginning, where if you're not paying attention at the beginning, you're going to miss a lot of important things. So it was kind of a bizarre film. It's grown on me a lot. If you're looking for some off the beaten path horror, I would recommend it. So, Zach, do you have any questions? Any concerns? What's your
So I guess something that's kind of stood out to me for anybody who may not immediately recall any of the imagery of this film. It's particularly striking, both in its very wide landscapes in the trailer, and also, of course, this kind of lamb child that they have. That's appears to be, at least from what I saw in the trailer, a very practical effect, similar to like Annette. Like the kind of baby puppet doll that just everybody plays straight on screen. Like that's just reality. That's what we're looking at. It appears we just have like the body of a child running around like a raincoat and a parka, but just like a lamb head on. I guess I looked at this trailer. It's an A24 film, and I thought, you know what? Nope, I might be out on lamb. That just looks too weird, man. Like A24 might have officially jumped the shark for me. You didn't feel that way. Why? Like what is it about this that you think provides such creep vibes? And is that in the whole film? Like, am I crazy? I mean, what's going on here?
So you get the sense that there is maybe something out there, like something watching from afar the whole time. There are a couple of animals which I think are kind of characters. There is a house cat. There is they have a sheepdog, and a couple of stubborn lambs themselves. And I think these are characters in themselves they represent other things. But you get the sense that something isn't right with, like, even though they're doing what is kind of the right thing, that they're taking in this weird hybrid, this lamb child, and it's they're being parents to it, and it's filling a hole that they have, and so it seems like all is well, but we know that something's not quite right. That this is some sort of not devious, but just something's not right with the situation. And like I said, we get this creeping suspicion that someone is kind of out there, and that's one of the beautiful things about this film. It's in rural Iceland, so you get these mountains and streams, and there's no one else around. It's not as I thought it might devolve into some sort of really grotesque ending where like everyone stabs everyone else, everyone dies, and it's really gory. And it doesn't do that. Something like Midsummer,
or I mean, The Lighthouse, especially with a small cast, like it has.
Exactly. And it doesn't go that route. It does get pretty intense towards the end. Like I said, it's highly symbolic. It's the executive producer is Bela Tarr, who also made a very kind of seminal work called The Turin Horse, which I haven't seen, but I've heard a lot about. So it's creepy, but it's not like, there aren't any jump scares. It reminds me a lot of The Shining. It's more about mood and pacing and tone and those things.
Two more questions, because I know we're moving fast. I saw this film, Lamb, is being selected as the official selection from Iceland for submission to the Academy Awards. Lamb is going to be in the Academy Awards. Hopefully it will get picked for a couple categories. What do you see it potentially getting picked for, or maybe winning?
Well, it's definitely going for, best international film.
Sure.
That's the big one. That's always a very stacked, difficult field to come out ahead of. But it's, like I said, it's a very deep film. It's very philosophical. Like, while the premise seems kind of silly, there's a lot going on underneath the surface. It's about relationships. It's about motherhood, children. Like,
an original screenplay nod in there or something.
Yeah, there's a lot of religious imagery and iconography. It is not a religious film, but it's like, we're dealing with lambs, sheeps, a miraculous birth on Christmas Day. So it's definitely invoking those images.
I wonder if it's an original screenplay or adapted. Anyway, one more question.
I believe
Yeah.
it's based on a short story. Yes.
Okay, so maybe best adapted or something. Yeah, they might scoop up a writing credit for that. Andy, last question. Would you recommend Lamb?
With caveats, only for those seeking the boldest of cinema. Like I said, it is a long film. It is slow paced.
Yeah.
It's really interesting, and it's bizarre. I mean, it's a bizarre premise, and the story unfolds I think, very cleverly. But it's pretty slow. The first act seems pretty slow. But the second time I saw it, it seemed to go by really fast. Like once I kind of know where it's going, because then I'm actually looking for a lot of things in early on. But if you're just looking for the like a fun Halloween scary film, like go see Halloween Kills. That's gonna be much more the average person's.
Right.
Like you'll be bad at me. I saw a great comment that said, if you thought The Green Knight was too fast paced, see Lamb.
All right, cool. A lot of people sitting quietly in the theater staring at a screen where nothing's happening. Good stuff. Yeah.
Right.
All right. One last review. We'll keep it quick. I know you're excited to talk about this one, Andy. Please take it away.
The Last Duel. So finally, this is the epic by Ridley Scott, starring Matt Damon, Adam Driver, and Jodie Comer as nobles in 14th century France. I gotta have to work with these names. Matt Damon plays Sir Jean de Carouge.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at these on IMDb. These are ugly. Oh God.
He plays Sir Jean de Carouge, who's a noble and has fought alongside Adam Driver's character Jacques Legris. And so this movie has been marketed as it's a story about sexual assault, sadly, and it's about multiple people's perspectives and coming in. The woman in question is played by Jodie Comer, Marguerite de Carouge, who this happens to. But the film is about a lot more than that. So the film is structured in basically three different narratives. You get the perspectives of the three main characters, starting with Matt Damon. And Matt Damon isn't just a warrior and a noble. He's kind of a persona non grata. He is made a fool of himself a lot. He's fought over land, or he feels like he's entitled to a lot of things that get denied to him, and coincidentally they get given to Jacques Legris, Adam Driver's character. He's very upset about this. He feels like he's been wronged. He's in line for this captaincy that also gets denied. The woman he marries, Jodie Comer, while she's very beautiful, she's the daughter of someone who had betrayed the king and was pardoned, but he's also got a black sheep because he's a betrayer. So we get this very frustrated character who's feels like he's worked hard and everything kind of gets taken from him. Jacques Legris, on the other hand, Adam Driver's character, he's kind of everything good happens to him. He's in good with the nobles. He's good friends with the magistrate, played by Ben Affleck. He is gifted land that was supposed to go to Carouge. He's also given the title, and like I said, this is where we eventually get into this assault that happens to Jodie Comer, and then we get her perspective. And so we get three people's perspectives on the same events, and then we also get their perspective on events that other people didn't see. It's very interesting from that place. So there's a lot of political and social things going on, as well as, like I said, this is really about this duel, which I should talk about that more. They're fighting for her honor in order to prove that she is telling the truth. The two men will fight and let God decide, because that was the thinking in the 13th century.
Brilliant.
There is no question about the validity of her claim. I thought that's what this movie was going to do. We were going to get three different stories and have to decide for ourselves. That's not what happens. There's not really a question about whether or not it was a rape. It's just more of the reaction of the town and the people and like the societal kind of views of these things. And there's a very brilliant line that said, this is not a crime against the woman, it's a crime against her husband. That's how it's viewed then. And and the only reason that Matt Damon character even fights for his wife is because this is kind of his arch enemy, and he's taken all this, he's taken his land, his title, and he sees this as an opportunity to get all that back. So he's not really doing it for the right reasons. So I really enjoyed this. I thought it was done really well. The 3 different perspectives is really interesting. It's kind of a Rashomon approach. I thought it did a very good job of discussing the subject matter and how much there's a lot of things that are repeated today. Things like did she invite him in? Did she invite did she look at him a certain way? Did she behave a certain way? Lots of she is put on trial despite being the victim. And it's a testament to how women at that point in time had virtually no power, and like I said, the only reason anything happens is because Matt Damon is trying to get his land and his title back.
Yeah. Well, quite the summary. Gosh. I think what's kind of first strikes me about this film, and I talked about this in the show previously, I thought the marketing of this film was terrible. I think the trailer, you can barely see anything because it's 80% black. I don't know why they chose to go that way. Additionally, the movie poster features very little. Ridley Scott's a very visual director. He does Sword and Sandal, right? Like he did Gladiator. This is not his first swing at doing this. What the hell? Why can't why hasn't this been presented in this giant grand epic? Like it seems like that's what it's supposed to be. I mean,
right.
I don't know.
So a number of things. So this was the 20th Century Fox product film that Disney absorbed in the merger, and they've kind of just been holding on to it.
Similar to Kristen Stewart's Underwater, like when they bought that and then dumped it in January of this year. Like they were just like, we don't really know what to do with this here. Like Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. They absorb some properties. They don't really know what to do. It does succeed on the sword and sandal part. I mean, the costumes look great. You're transported into the time period. There's a couple of battle scenes where it reminded me of things like Braveheart or Gladiator, where you got everyone in their armor and swords and horses, and it's chaos. And I mean, it looks like you're on the battlefield. And then when you're in the palaces and in the castles, all that, it's very convincing. So Ridley Scott does a great job of transporting this to the period.
All right. Jodie Comer's obviously tremendous, right? She's apparently been great in Killing Eve, a show I haven't watched. She was really good in Free Guy, a role that I assumed, I think I thought it was like Emily Blunt, and then I actually saw the film and thought, oh my God, that's like a new upcoming actress I don't know who's very good. You said in this movie she might be Oscar worthy.
Yeah, she really does a standout performance in this, and Matt Damon as well. I think they're both going to get nominated. Matt Damon gets to chew the scenery a lot, as he's like pleading his case for for this land that he feels is his, for this title that he feels is his, and he's kind of a hothead in general. He would do better to kind of keep his mouth shut or to be more polite, but he just he can't help himself. So he's got some great scenes. Jodie Comer has a lot of excellent scenes as well. I definitely think they'll get some noms.
I want to ask about the screenwriting. 2 questions. Yeah, this one and then one more. I want to ask about the screenwriting. It's the screenplay was written by Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. Mm-hmm. Apparently not teamed on a screenplay since Good Will Hunting, which is very exciting, right? Like that's very cool. Right. Does that come through in the film? Can you tell they're really tied to what's going on, or did you feel like this was just that them just doing the dance? I mean, you said Matt Damon killed it. How's Affleck?
So, a couple things. So first of all, there's 3 writers, and the one is in addition to Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, there's also Nicole Holofcener, and basically they all do a different role. So they got a woman to write the woman's part, which was really important to do. And then Matt Damon wrote his own part, and I assume Ben Affleck I guess he actually wrote Adam Driver's part. But yeah, what they wanted to do is write the narrative from 3 different perspectives, like we get to see in the film. And I think that works really well. You can tell they're very different from each other. Occasionally, like it's very, it's 13th century France, so everyone talks with a lot of nobility and things, but occasionally it kind of gets very it almost sounds modern in some ways. And also, like, no one has an accent, everyone's just talking like American English. So it seems like they couldn't really decide on that. But they, like I said, they used three different writers. They used a woman to write the woman's part, and I think that's very crucial, especially something discussing this kind of subject matter.
Last question: would you recommend The Last Duel?
I would. I really liked it. It's a little long. It's a full 2.5 hours. That went by pretty quickly for me. I was into it the whole time. Like I said, you get these three perspectives. They're very important. And again, this is based on a real story. And this was the last officially like sanctioned duel in France, in like 1370, I think it is. And you get this brutal. The film both starts and ends with the duel. You get the beginning of it, and then you get to see how it ends. And it's brutal, like Braveheart style hack and slash.
Yeah. Oh God. Sure. I mean, that's Gladiator, right? That's where that comes from. Ridley Scott knows what he's doing. All right. Well, good. I'm glad to hear it's so much better than it looked, because I have totally blown this film off. So to get a ringing endorsement from you isn't nothing. I definitely find some time to go see it. Or hopefully catch it on streaming. Or hopefully catch it somewhere. But believe it or not, that's the end of our show. My God, Andy, we haven't done one in a month. This is it. We're on the end of it. How do you feel?
Man, it feels good. Feels good to do a show. There's been, we said October was going to be stacked. We got a lot coming out.
Yeah. Including stacked with show delays from me. This feels great. I'm so glad we were able to knock this out. I know it was a bit of a rush to get through the last few, but it feels like we've covered everything we've wanted to watch. Next week, we're coming out with some new stuff. Classic show. It'll probably still be on this laptop. I hope everything is recorded smoothly. If you've heard the show smooth from here on out, awesome. It worked. Great. I hope it's all going well. Next week, Andy, what are we watching?
Well, we have the big sci-fi release from Denis Villeneuve, Dune. Which we've been waiting patiently for. This is going to be really exciting. This is I can't remember the guy's name. It's a big epic from the 60s adapted for the screen.
Frank Herbert.
Frank Herbert.
Herbert, right?
Yeah.
Frank Herbert.
It was said that this was impossible to film, and it's done. And that's going to be available on both HBO Max and in theater starting this Friday. And then we also have The French Dispatch, which will be coming out in theaters. And also upcoming at the very end of the month, very exciting, we have Last Night in Soho, Edgar Wright's latest horror film, and Antlers.
Man, it is going to be quite the weeks at the movies. I'm not, we'll get to Antlers in a couple weeks, but for what it's worth, Dune is going to be cool. I'm also very excited about Wes Anderson's French Dispatch. Andy, not so much, but I think you can appreciate bold cinema. I think you'll at least hopefully get a chuckle. I hope you won't be bored that whole movie, but it'll be fun. If you enjoyed the episode today, if you've been wondering where we've been, if you want to keep up with where we're going, follow us on Facebook at Offscript for more. That's typically where we do updates, unless my computer fries and I can't handle it. Otherwise, that's where we'll be. It's where our live streams are. We keep our old episodes over there. We're also on YouTube, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram. You can follow us over there as well. And if you want to keep up and maybe write into the show and let us know what you think about these films or what's coming up or recommendations for things we should watch, email us at mail@offscriptfilmreview.com. Check out our website, offscriptfilmreview.com, where you can see full episodes, clips, interviews Andy's doing for cool stuff in news. That's a real thing. I should have asked you about this most recent one, but whatever. Maybe we'll talk about it next week. Good things are coming. All right. So I'm sorry we've been out. I'm so glad we're back. Andy, anything else? I think we covered everything, right? I hit all the...
I think I'm ready.
Yeah. From all of us at Offscript, the home of bold cinema, I'm Zach Lewis.
And I'm Dr. Draper.
Thanks for watching.